Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right, baby, welcome to the Gridiron. If you give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you're subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel, the description box below, very top link, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link, takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, yeah. I'll tell you what. It just, I don't know, man. It just, yeah. Just sometimes I don't know. I can't even talk sometimes. It's just so horrible. The football, I just can't stand it. So sometimes, what a turd I am here. Actually, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I got an Ohio State jersey on, t-shirt on. But voting for Notre Dame, of course, they lost. I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Of course, they won. They're going to the championship game. I don't want to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Of course, they won. They're going to the championship game. They'll probably go to the Super Bowl. It's about, I said the 2 teams I don't want to see in the Super Bowl, the Eagles and the Chiefs. And both of them are probably going to want to go in the Super Bowl. It's just the only thing I got out of that is only one of those 2 scumbag teams going to wind up winning. So one of those 2 scumbag teams will wind up losing. So I'll be happy about that. But I just, thankfully, at least for Notre Dame anyway, they got to the championship game. They're never quite good enough to, they can't get the 5-star because their academics, it's tougher to get into Notre Dame than it is other schools, academically. So that's why some of these other schools always seem to have fantastic, unbelievable football players year in and year out, but they don't have to be, academically as good, so they get the better players, because there's a lot of the better players are not academically, Rhodes Scholars. So Notre Dame always has a hard time, but they got to the championship game. I'm very proud of them. They had a very good season. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, 1988 might be the last time they ever won a national title. So it's been, 36 years and counting for Notre Dame. We'll get them next year. Of course, unfortunately, I've been saying it now for 36 years. So it is what it is. But as I said, just these can't down. At least the one nice thing was the Raven Bill game was very, very good. You can say, between that, you can go both ways for me anyway, right? The better team won between the Bills and the Ravens. You can also say, on the other hand, the better team didn't win. The Ravens, with the turnovers, the drop pass, and Andrews, Andrews fumbled the ball lost the fumble for the first time since, the dinosaurs roamed the earth. And just, so Buffalo scored 6 points in the second half. They had a hard time moving the ball in the second half. The Ravens defense was very, very good. The Ravens were just walking up and down the field. They were either walking up and down the field to score some points, or they were turning the ball over. But so anyway, it was a very, very good game. The Detroit game, that was exciting. A lot of points and all that. Right. You also kind of thought that there was probably going to be somewhere along the line with the Lions that there was a good chance, because their defense is decimated, totally decimated. If the Eagles' defense was as decimated as the Lions defense, the Eagles not in the championship game. Eagles are lucky because they're relatively healthy. Very, very lucky. Plain and simple. But you've kind of figured was there going to be a point in time where the Lions could not outshoot or outgun or whatever the other team, because there was going to be a point in time where it was going to be, the Lions their defense is being really decimated. Couldn't outpoint the other team, and they had a hard time stopping the Commanders. So all I can hope for is hopefully the Commanders, when they go into Philadelphia on Sunday, hopefully they actually put some points up like they did against the Lions. That would be nice, But because I can't stand the Eagles. But and I can tell you this: if it's the Eagles and the Chiefs, I am not watching the Super Bowl. Absolutely not. Will not watch the Super Bowl. Absolutely not. Can't stand those two teams. Absolutely can't stand. But if we start a little thing here, maybe Shane was right after all. Everybody is always, it is amazing, simply amazing. All being in the Facebook group, all the giant Facebook groups and all that. I mean, I think I'm like part of like 30 different groups, giant groups. You see people putting all these posts in there and everything, and obviously talking about Shane and this and that and everything, but you don't need a $14, $15 million, whatever, 13, running back to go to the Super Bowl. You don't. Saquon is the beneficiary of, it's almost, I don't want to say the perfect storm, but he's not injured. How many times can we say that when he played with the Giants, right? Their offensive line is one of the best in all football. I think they might have lost one guy, but I mean, other than that, their offensive line's intact. They got like the best offensive line coach, or one of the top 2 or 3 offensive line coaches in all football. They got 2 number 1 wide receivers who are healthy. They got their tight end who just came back. They got a good quarterback. I'm not going to say he's an upper top 5 quarterback or anything like that, but he's a very good quarterback. And obviously he's a good quarterback because he's being surrounded by talent. So I'm just saying with Saquon, it's just like it's like the perfect storm. You don't need a $13, $14, $15 million quarterback, running back to go to Super Bowl. I mean, if you go, so this post on in one of the Facebook groups, and I shared it with my Facebook group, you go to the championship game, the 2 championship games, and you look at, right? Let's see. And it says here, is this from Giants 366? Remove Saquon being on the Eagles from the equation, and you can completely understand why Joe Schoen didn't want to pay a running back. Every year, one team with a highly paid running back makes it to the conference championship game or even the Super Bowl, but they never win. So even if Saquon does win, once again, and I'm gonna go over why, if they're to win, I'm gonna go over why they win. Okay, and it's something I would really like to see him do without in the NFL. Really like to see him do without. That's the only reason why. They're going to win. But I mean, it's just, even if Saquon goes in there and wins the Super Bowl, it still doesn't. The last 15 Super Bowls or so, you don't need to pay. So if 1 out of 16 has a highly paid, and once again, I'm going to show you why in my next couple minutes here, why the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, why they can afford to go to the Super Bowl. Is that it doesn't. You don't need. I mean, I'm saying every now and then a blind squirrel you'll get a nut. Every now and then you'll get a team, right, that goes to the Super Bowl that maybe wins a Super Bowl that has a high pay running back once in a while, right? But you don't need it, right? And I said once again, I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes why the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, right? If they were like, as I said, something I'd really like to see them do away with. Right? Something I'd really like to see him do away with. And it would totally eliminate the Eagles from being in the Super Bowl. I can guarantee you that. I can't stand the Eagles. Absolutely can't stand the Eagles. But at least I know I won't be watching if they get there. If they get there. Let's see. When you have an elite offensive line that stays healthy, they're lucky. They stayed healthy. A lot of other teams have decimated offensive line. They played 17 games, and a lot of other teams are decimated. Not the Eagles. They're lucky. A great running game. One of the best offensive line coaches in all football, Jeff Stoutland. You can take it pretty far, but it hasn't proven to be a winner yet. And I'm saying, even if he does win, whoop-de do. That's one out of the last 20 Super Bowls that they've had a top-rated running back on a team. You don't need it, right? So you go to the championship game, right? Saquon's making $12.5 million, but I think it's even more than that because I think he has. I don't know what they are. He's got incentives. So if he, I don't know if it's to win a Super Bowl or something. I don't know. I don't know what the incentives, but I believe he has incentives. Okay. So, he might make 13 or maybe 14. I don't know. Okay. But I said, if you take, the 4 running backs in this championship, the 2 championship games, right? James Cook is making $1.4 million. Don't need a high-paid running back. Kareem Hunt, $1.2 million. And Brian Robinson, $1.2 million. Okay. Saquon is making he's making 10 times what Kareem Hunt is. He's making 10 times what Brian Robinson is, and he's making, I don't know what, maybe 9 times what James Cook is. I mean, you don't need. Okay. And of course, if you go back to, we go back here. Where are we at here? Right? You go back over the Super Bowl winning teams, their top running backs. Okay. Last year, Isaiah Pacheco, his salary cap was 0.4% of the team's salary cap. That's what he got paid, 0.4%. 2022, Isaiah Pacheco, once again, 0.3% he made of the team's salary cap. Cam Akers with the Rams in 2021, 0.8% of the team's salary cap. Leonard Fournette with the Buccaneers, he made 1.2%. Now, I'm going to go here. Leonard Fournette, he made, let's see here. He made $2 million with the Bucs in 2020. Damian Williams with the Chiefs in 2019. He made 0.9%. Damian Williams, he made $1,050,000. $1 million, basically. He made $1 million with the Chiefs in 2019, and he won a Super Bowl. Sonny Michel with the Patriots. He made 1% of the salary cap in 2018. He made $480,000, Sonny Michel, his base salary. $480,000. That's what he was paid. LeGarrette Blount with the Eagles, he made $900,000. He made 0.7%. Let's see. Then LeGarrette Blount once again in 2016 with the Patriots. He made $760,000. Broncos, 2015, when the Broncos beat the Panthers. C.J. Anderson made $585,000. He made 0.4% team salary cap. And once again, LeGarrette Blount, once again, okay, 2014 with the Patriots. $730,000. And now you go to 2013. Okay. Now here they got, it's interesting. One thing says they got Percy Harvin, made 2.5 million. I can't. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know how. Marshawn Lynch, but I mean, even still, Marshawn Lynch wasn't making a ton of money. Anyone, obviously, nowhere near. Right. Then you got Ray Rice with the Ravens. He made $2 million. On Bradshaw, some guy, right? 2011, some guy from the Giants, right? He was making 1.5 million. James Starks, he made with the Packers in 2010 when they beat the Steelers. He apparently here said he made $320,000. And Pierre Thomas in 2009 when the Saints beat the Colts. He made $460,000. Right. Basically, what you can read from this is that you don't need to break the bank for a running back to get yourself a Super Bowl ring. However, you do need a good quarterback. In fact, by not carving out a ton of your cap space to secure your star back, it does open the door to lock in players that have more impact on landing a Lombardi, such as quarterbacks, offensive tackles, star corners, wide receivers. Right? That's only highlighted even further when you look at the top 10 highest paid running backs in the NFL from the past season. Now, this article here is from like 2020 or something like that, but for the most part, their teams didn't do so hot. 8 of those backs were on clubs that failed to even make the postseason. Let's see. And let's see here. Top 10 highest paid running backs in the NFL. They owned a record of 68, 91, and 1 combined record. Not only are teams who are paying top dollar for back not winning the Super Bowl, but they're barely even making the playoffs and can't manage to be over 500. Now, of course, let's not forget Derrick Henry, right? Don't forget that. But, Derrick Henry has Lamar Jackson, quite possibly maybe his 3rd MVP in a row. And, of course, one of the reasons why Derrick Henry is so good with Lamar Jackson is because, if everybody just crowds the line of scrimmage and as soon as, Lamar goes to hand the ball to, Derrick Henry, all 11 guys on defense crowd up for Derrick Henry. And if Lamar would tuck the ball and maybe curl around the outside, he might have a touchdown, right? So that's one of the things that makes, a little bit this year. But Derrick Henry's unbelievable, right? But for the most part, you don't need to pay running back. And that's it. Saquon might go to the Super Bowl. He might win a Super Bowl. Good for him. But you do not need, right? He came from the Bills, right? Shane, right? They had ways of doing things. He had his per dollar, per positional figure, and he wasn't going to blow the bank on it, right? A lot of times when Buffalo did well, obviously they had Josh Allen, but they might have a star receiver that they were paying money for, right? They didn't go out of their way. They're as you saw, as I just read off, their star backs making a little over $1 million, right? Even Jahmyr Gibbs, who led the league in touchdowns, I think he had like 20 touchdowns. He's making like $4.8 million. Yeah, Saquon's making almost 3 times the amount of money he is. Jahmyr Gibbs scored 20 touchdowns. Right? And Saquon's making, right? And I said, if the Lions defense wasn't decimated, if they were healthy, like the Eagles, are healthy, right? If the Lions defense was healthy, quite possibly the Lions might have wound up beating the Commanders. But it is what it is. But once again, it just goes to show you, as I said, even if Saquon goes to the Super Bowl and the Eagles win, okay. But if you go back over past 15 Super Bowls, right, that would be the first out of the last 15 Super Bowls that you had a running back winning a Super Bowl, right, who got paid a lot of money. That'd be the first out of 15. That would be like going to the casinos and you sit down, okay? You sit down at a game and they're like, here's a different type of game. Let me give you the rules, okay? I'm going to flip a coin, okay? And it's a special coin, magical coin. I'm going to flip it 15 times, okay? 15 times. 14 out of every 15 times, I'm going to flip it. It's going to come up heads. 1 out of those 15 is going to turn up tails. Right? 14 out of 15 times, it's going to turn up heads. So that would be like somebody going to the table, sitting down, right? And the guy tells them the rules, and it's a magical coin. 14 or 15 times, it's going to come up heads. That would be like some moron sitting down at the game and picking tails 14 out of 15 times. That would just doesn't make much sense. I mean, would it be nice to have? Sure. But would he, would Saquon be doing what he's doing with the? No, of course not. But you know, it's a copycat league, right? You kind of want to go with what gets you there. Obviously, as we're going to say, right? I mean, but one thing you do need, okay, to get to the to a Super Bowl is a quarterback, right? You need a quarterback, and that's one of the things the Giants, definitely need. I mean, if you look at where the Giants are, right? Let's see here, where we at here. I'm going to read off. I mean, I can go all the way back to the beginning. I think it was like the first 14 or whatever it was Super Bowls, right? Were Hall of Fame quarterbacks. But I mean, if you look, I mean, one thing you need, right? Okay. Then these are the last. I'm going to read off the last, like Patrick Mahomes won the last 2 Super Bowls. Hall of Fame quarterback. Matthew Stafford. Okay. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't. He won the Super Bowl, okay, and he beat Joe Burrow, right? But you can say you have 2, elite quarterbacks there. Now Joe Burrow might, as time goes by, he might make it. I mean, but Matthew Stafford, I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. Very good quarterback. Very, very good quarterback. All right. But go to the 2020 Super Bowl. Tom Brady, Hall of Famer. Beat Patrick Mahomes, Hall of Famer. 2019, the Chiefs won. Patrick Mahomes, Hall of Famer. 2018, Tom Brady, right? Beat Jared Goff. But Tom Brady, Hall of Famer. 2017, Nick Foles. But who did he beat? Tom Brady, Hall of Famer. 2016, Tom Brady won, Hall of Famer. 2015, Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer. 2014, Tom Brady, Hall of Famer. 2013, now this one's a little I don't know. Russell Wilson. He got the back-to-back Super Bowls. He should have won back-to-back Super Bowls. A little iffy. But anyway, 2013, Russell Wilson beat Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer. 2012, you got Colin Kaepernick and Joe Flacco. 2011, Eli Manning, Hall of Famer. Going to be Hall of Famer. Tom Brady, he beat Tom Brady, Hall of Famer. 2010, Aaron Rodgers, future Hall of Famer, beat Ben Roethlisberger, future Hall of Famer. 2009, Drew Brees, future Hall of Famer, beat Hall of Famer Peyton Manning. 2008, Ben Roethlisberger, future Hall of Famer, beat Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer. 2007, Eli Manning, future Hall of Famer, beat Tom Brady, future Hall of Famer. 2008, Peyton Manning, Hall of Famer, beat Rex Grossman. I still don't even know how the Bears got in there. But anyway, 2005, Ben Roethlisberger, future Hall of Famer. 2004, Tom Brady, future Hall of Famer. 2003, future Hall of Famer Tom Brady. Then, of course, you had Brad Johnson, but the Tampa Bay had a phenomenal defense. 2001, Tom Brady beat Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer, right? I mean, you can just go on and on. I mean, I said, then if you look here, I said, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. First 14 Super Bowls, the winning quarterbacks were Hall of Famer. And out of those first 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 out of the losing teams, right? Out of those first 14, the losing team had Hall of Fame quarterbacks. So, so the one thing you do need, okay, as we know right now, without question, you got to have your quarterback. That's what you do need, right? They said, Joe Schoen, and of course, what made it look even worse was, of course, the off-season hard knocks. That's what made it look even worse. If that was not even a part of the equation, right, the Giants would not have looked as bad. It's just because he said that on Hard Knocks made him look as bad as he did, right? Now, of course, if say Saquon got injured in week 2 of the season, tore his ACL, he was out all year, Joe Schoen would look pretty good, wouldn't he? Yeah. Right? Saquon's having a great year. He might wind up winning the Super Bowl. Joe Schoen looks like an idiot. If Saquon Barkley gets injured, misses almost the whole season, Joe Schoen looks like a genius. If Saquon Barkley goes to the Eagles and gets injured like the way he used to with the Giants, right? Joe Schoen looks like a genius, right? But I mean, a lot of it also has to do with the hard knocks, because listen to Shane, you don't need a $40 million quarterback handing off to a $15 million running back. You don't need that. Made Joe Schoen look really, really bad at hard knocks. But once again, year in and year out, even if Saquon wins, if he does, good for him. It means like the last 15 Super Bowls, a high-paid running back. I mean, what happened last year? McCaffrey, high-paid running back, got to the Super Bowl, lost. Right? So you don't need a high-paid running back to get to the Super Bowl. You do need a quarterback, and that's what the Giants are trying to get to. That's what they're trying to do. But as I was talking about, because I just can't stand the Eagles. I just can't stand it. And this is one of the big reasons why are the Eagles so good and the Giants suck. There's obviously multiple ones, but this is one of them right here. And void, right? And this is something I would really, really, the thing I don't like is that, the NFL wants parity in the league, right? And, one of the things, and that's another one of the things is all these people, they're tripping out, we're paying Daniel Jones $40 million this year, and we owe him this much money, dead cap money next year, and all that stuff. And some people are just tripping on that and everything, But what Joe Schoen is doing, right? He's clearing the books after the 4-year, 4-year contract. Daniel Jones, paid him all his money in 2 years. So in the 3rd year, he can get out. So next year, we only owe him $22 million, dead cap money. And after 3 years, we're clearing the books, right? And Daniel Jones is no mas. He's no, right? We don't owe him any money. He's running another team, whatever, right? He's no mas. And I said, the one thing I wish they could do away with, and I said, maybe, that's some type of rule. Maybe you can do it with one player, like maybe a quarterback or something like that, because, within the next, 10 years, whatever, 15 at the most, you're going to have the first $100 million a year player, right? So the first $100 million a year player in the NFL is walking the earth right now. I don't know how old they are. They could be 7. I don't know, whoever it is. I don't know. Right? In 15 years from now, that 7-year-old's coming out of college. He's 22 or what? After his rookie day, he's making $100 million a year. So it's just a matter of time. So, I could see when, if you wanted to do something like that, maybe with the void contracts, maybe if you wanted to could do it with one player or something like that. But what I don't like is what the Eagles do, right? They have like basically half their offense, and I didn't even bother looking at the defense. Actually, I think Darius Slay, I think, is on it too. What the Eagles do, okay, is they and I just looked at some guys, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, the right tackle, the future Hall of Fame right tackle, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, like half of their offense as the void years. They're paying, they don't even have a guy on their roster this year who has a cap hit of $16 million. Everybody on their roster is making less. Let's see here. Now, let's see. All right, so their top guy is Lane Johnson. He's making $15.8 million. Then they got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is making $51 million a year. $51 million a year he's making. His cap hit this year is 13.5. Where's the other $38 million at? Down the road. You realize that Jalen Hurts, after his contract is up, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work and all this stuff and everything. But the Eagles in 2029, after his contract is up, he has a cap hit of $97.5 million. He has a cap hit of almost $100 million. Now, I'm sure, something will happen, and Howie Roseman, their GM, will come up with some other way to finagle the numbers and stuff like that and push more money down the road or do something or whatever. But Jalen, his cap hit is $97.5 million, and he's not even on a team. His contract's up. And in 2030, his cap hit is 29.8. He's not on the team. 2031, 19.8. And then 2032 is 9.9. So he has 4 void years on the end of his contract. So, he's owed $51 million a year. Next year, he's only making 20. His cap hit is only $21 million. He's going to be paid $51 million a year. But next year, he's only making 21. Where's the other $30 million at? Down the road. In 2026, Jalen Hurts, who's getting paid annually $51 million a year, his cap hit's only $31 million. Where's the other $20 million? Pushed down the road. The following year, his last year of his contract, he's making $51 million a year, and still, after 4 seasons, has not even come close to getting paid $51 million a year of his cap hit being $51 million. His final season of his contract, he's getting paid $41 million. Where's the other $10 million? Pushed down the road. They have 4 void years on the end of his contract. Oh, I'm sorry. His last year's in 2028. He's getting paid $47 million. That's the final year of his contract. My bad. Looks like. So he got paid for 5 years, and not one of those years did he actually get paid his $51 million. All the money's pushed down. So it's not. I said Lane Johnson. I even think Darius Slay too, but Lane Johnson. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. At least 5 guys in their offense have 4 void years on the end of the contract. See, the thing is with the Giants, like if you look at the Giants, right? I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to take Andrew Thomas, okay? Because he's on the offense. He's the big kahuna, right? Now that Daniel Jones is gone, we got Andrew Thomas, okay? Let me just backtrack here real fast, okay? So I'm going to go to Lane Johnson, future Hall of Famer. Guy is unbelievable. Okay, Lane Johnson. He's getting up there in age. But once again, he has 4 void years on his contract. 4. Looks like he's owed like 35, 27, almost $40 million, maybe after his contract is up. So after his contract's up, he has 4 void years where he has like cap hits. 4 after his contract's up. All they're doing is pushing money down the end of the road, right? And everybody's like, oh my God, the Eagles are so good. Oh my God. Well, this is what they're doing. This is why they have such a good team. One of the reasons. They have other reasons, of course. I said another one of them is they're very lucky because they don't get injured. They're lucky. Other teams get decimated. The Eagles don't. The Eagles are lucky. But one of the other reasons why is like, how do they have all these good players? Well, this is why. Let's look at that's Lane Johnson, their right tackle, their best offensive lineman. After his contract's up, he has 4 void years on the end of where they owe him money. And as I said, Howie Roseman, he'll start finagling the money, I'm sure, or something like that. Whatever. I don't know. But as of right now, so after his contract is done, Lane Johnson, their future Hall of Fame right tackle, he's still on the books as of right now for like 4 more years after his contract's up. Joe Schoen doesn't do that. Okay. Joe Schoen with Andrew Thomas, our best offensive player right now, if the guy can ever stay healthy. Okay. His contract runs up to let's say 5 years, $117 million. Okay. His final year of his contract is 2029. His cap hit is $22.9 million. Right? He's an unrestricted free agent when he's after the 2029 season. Let me read this here. Signed a 5-year, $117 million contract with the Giants. In 2025, Thomas will earn a base salary of $16.4 and a workout bonus of $500,000 while carrying a cap hit of $21 million and a dead cap value of $44 million. Right? So that's 2025. So 2025, 26, 27, 28, and 29. It's 5 years. He signed a 5-year contract, $117 million, and he earns every penny of it. And once again, I just wish the guy could stay healthy. But after 2029, after his 5-year contract is up, he's off the books. There's no void years. There's none of this. There's none of that. His contract is up. All the money we owe him is gone. And whether Andrew's here still or not, I hope he is. I hope, once again, the guy can't stay healthy the past 2 years. Let's hope he can. So if for him to play, he's got to play another 4 or 5 years, for his contract to be up. But once his contract is up, whether he's here or not, all that money, it's gone. It's all done. It's all said for. There's no 4 void years. We'll just tag. There's none of that. Same thing with Saquon Barkley here, right? Saquon Barkley. Now what a lot of teams do, right, is where are we at here? Where is Saquon? He's pretty far to once again he's getting $3.8 million. Or his what is it? His cap hit is $3.8 million. He signed a contract for about $12.5 million a year. I do think that there were some bonuses or that he might be able to get. I'm not sure, but I thought there was. But he's making each year $12.5 million. Now, of course, for him, good for him, is that this season, he stayed healthy, right? So it wasn't like his base salary was whatever. Say his base salary was $17 million, right? Well, it's not all guaranteed. If you play every game, then you get the $17 million. You get $1 million a game, right? So basically his salary is $12.5 million. He played in every game, so he gets all of his money. We got Craig. Their O-line is unbelievable, and they don't get hurt. Nope. Don't get hurt. Nope. They stayed. Devontae Smith. That's another one thing I can't stand about the Eagles. Yeah, and they traded with the Cowboys to do that too. I mean, well, as I said, they got Devontae Smith and they got A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown have a good second there. Oh yeah, Oh, the defensive line is very good. Their two top draft picks wind up being very, very good. But once again, their two top draft picks are in the secondary. If you look at the Giants secondary, what happened to Banks? How many games did he miss with a rib? Right, Cordell Flott, he missed time. Newman, right, his season was over. Right, Andrew Phillips, how many games did he miss? I mean, we got all these guys just missing games for some reason. We can't even get guys to go on the field and play a whole game without getting decimated by injuries. But somehow the Eagles can just run all their guys on the field, and at the end of the game, everybody's happy. They're all singing songs, singing "Kumbaya," dancing and roasting marshmallows, and everybody's. I don't know. I don't know. How can we play 60 minutes and we lose 97% of our guys from injuries, and they play 60 minutes and everybody's fine? Nobody even has jock itch after the game's over. I mean, how can you be that lucky? And I said this a little while ago. I mean, one of the reasons why the Detroit Lions lost was because their defense was just totally freaking decimated by injuries. Right? The Eagles are lucky, right? But if you look at Saquon Barkley here, right? He's being paid $12.5 million a year on average. This year's cap hit was 3.8. He's got a 3-year contract, right? His cap hit in 2025 next year is 6.5, and then in 2026 it's 9.8. Well, if he's getting paid $12.5 million a year, and he got paid 3.8, 6.5, and 9.8. What? Where's all that other money gone? Well, it's void years. 4 more void years on the end of the contract, all dumped, right? The end of the contract. So he's owed like around $37.5 million or so, whatever it is, and in his first 3 years, he's going to get paid about say $20 million. So $17.5 million of it is like pushed down the road after his contract's over. Right? I mean, once again, there's a lot of reasons why the Eagles. I mean, they did very good drafting. They were beefing up their defensive front when they had other guys, and they drafted some Carter's a beast and all of that. The 2 top draft picks are really good. They still had Slay. They even had Bradbury, but he got injured. But they said they got McMahon. And there's another thing. It just blows my mind. We get Saquon Barkley, and half the time he gets injured, right? They get Saquon Barkley. They hand him the ball 37,000 times in a season, and he doesn't even have a cold. Has nothing, absolutely nothing at all. He's good to go. He ran the ball 47,000 times this year. No injuries, nothing. The other thing that pissed me off, they took Mekhi Becton from the Jets. That's all I remember of Mekhi Becton. I don't remember nothing about him. The one thing I remember, he get injured. Of course, they take Mekhi Becton. They move him into guard, and one of the things they move him into guard, right? But one of the things also, they have one of the best offensive line coaches in all of football. Move him into guard, and he's doing really good, like what they should do with Evan Neal, right? But Mekhi Becton, I think, with the Jets, that's all he does is get injured. He's like 37 feet tall, 45 feet wide, right? He's bigger than my house that I'm living in, and he gets injured. That's all I know about him. He goes to the Eagles. I think he missed 1 game. So between Saquon Barkley and Mekhi Becton, out of the 34 games, actually 34, he played 2 out of 38 games. Right? Saquon 19 games, I guess. Mekhi Becton 19 games. I think out of those 38 games, they missed 1 between the 2 of them. You know how unbelievably lucky they are. It just So it's just unbelievable. I said there's a lot of reasons, obviously, why, but one of them, as I said, something I would like to see them really do away with would be the void years on the end of the contracts. When the contract's up, right? As I said, unless you want to do it, have some rule where maybe you can put one guy in a void year, like maybe a quarterback or something like that, so you can afford to keep your quarterback. But if you're bringing in all these stars, you got to be able to pay them. So when that contract is up, that last year is up, all the money better be shit. There's no pushing the money down the road. There's none of that. I can't stand it. Absolutely can't stand it. See, Joe Schoen doesn't, 'cause obviously Joe Schoen don't get credit for nothing, anything good, shall I say? But one thing he does though is, he's not pushing money down the road, right? When the contracts are up, the people might be gone, but so is the money. We don't know people money 4 or 5 years down the road, right? Like Howie Roseman does. Philly 416 Eda. What is that? Philly 416. No, it's not. Oh, I got you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, the Eagles are just lucky. That's all they are. I mean, if they had the 10 different offensive lines that the Giants had, they're not going to the Super Bowl, right? If they were decimated and they're maybe in their secondary like the Giants were for a while, they'd have a hard time going. The injury. Giants had 4 different quarterbacks in it. Now they had 2 because Hurts missed a couple games, but they didn't have 4 quarterbacks. Like the Giants did, So the Eagles are very, very lucky. They got a good team. But I said once again, I don't like it where you can just push all money down the road. I don't like that at all. Don't like that at all. All right, then another thing I don't like at all is that I just can't stand this. The NFL, the not fair league. I just can't stand this. I can't even watch the Chiefs anymore. I can't stand watching the Eagles, and I can't even watch. Somebody of these calls that the Chiefs are getting or not getting, whatever. I just tell you what, man, I can't. The one roughing the passer that they had on him. Basically the guy. Yeah, it's all it is it's like you see the guy, you see the ref back there, and basically if anybody touches Patrick Mahomes, it's a flag. It's a flag thrown on him. There was another one where there was the drop hip tackle, whatever it was, plain as day, wide in the open. A Texan guy, I can't remember who caught the ball, whatever, and the Kansas City Chief guy caught him, was right, dropped his butt, right, drop hip tackle, pulled him down to the ground, right. Should be a 15-yard penalty, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing called on. Absolute total BS. There was a play. I think it was the pick 6 that Goff threw in the Lions game early on in the game. He went over to try to make it look like he was trying to make a tackle or something like that. The commander guy was running the ball in, but one of the players from the Commanders, I don't remember who it was going, and Goff was trying to come over to try to maybe make a play. Well, he kind of like not launched, but he shoved. He like the top of his head hit like Goff's like face mask. And Goff, kind of got up a little wobbly, whatever, had to go in the blue tent. Thankfully, I guess he came out. I guess he was okay. Maybe he just barely passed the test or something. I don't know. I don't know if he got shook up the rest of the game. I don't know. Who knows? But the guy went and nailed him, right. If that was Patrick Mahomes, first of all, probably Patrick Mahomes probably wouldn't be doing that. Andy Reid probably told him, no. Certain coaches have told their players, certain quarterbacks, you throw, don't even bother. If you go back however many years ago, I can cite a couple of instances. One was either the 66. There was a playoff game between the Colts and the Packers. Bart Starr. It wound up being the Packers wound up winning in overtime, 13-10. But in the very beginning of the game, Bart Starr threw an interception. He ran over the starting quarterback, future Hall of Famer of the Packers, ran over to try to make a tackle. Well, somebody blocked him, hit him, and he got him woozy and knocked him out for the whole game. The Packers wound up winning, but they had a backup quarterback in there. But they want to win. I mean, there's a lot of instances I can tell you. But I mean, back in the day, the quarterbacks would go after. Joe Namath would go after to try to make a tackle. One time he threw an interception in the '68 championship game. Can't remember. It might have been Atkinson picked the pass off, but he ran down the sideline, knocked him out of bounds. Right? Nowadays that's not the case. Some of the coaches actually tell the quarterbacks, if you throw an interception, get on the sideline. Don't go anywhere near. Don't do anything. So I don't know what Patrick Mahomes would do. I'm not sure if he'd run off to the sideline to jump into the arms of a referee or official who would burp him or something like that. Oh, that's okay, Patrick. We got you back, buddy. You threw an interception. Don't worry. We'll throw enough flags on the other team. They'll lose. Don't you worry about it, buddy. Right or not? But man, I'm just thinking. I'm like, man. If that was Patrick Mahomes, the dude launched himself and hit Patrick Mahomes like the face mask, the bottom, hit him with this helmet right up here, that dude would have been flagged easily for 15 yards. Goff, nothing, absolutely nothing. I mean, I can't even. I have such a hard time watching. Say, there's some articles here. I mean, it's just I can't stand this here. The fix is in. Absolute joke. This is from The Sun. I don't even know who it is. Patrick Mahomes accused of cheating by fans who claim NFL is rigged for Chiefs over ref call storm. I mean, I said the one that I think was the first, the idiot referee number 19 here, the moron. They threw the flag. 3-time Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes has been accused of cheating by fans who also believe the NFL is rigged for the Chiefs. The one fans also took issue with Mahomes trying to draw a penalty in the fourth quarter, trying to flop out of bounds. Freaking pansy. During Kansas City's second drive of the game, the officials called a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty on a Texan star, Willie Anderson Jr., who hit Mahomes just after he threw it. Get the out of here, dude. This is football. Oh, fuck out of here. Absolutely can't stand it. The decision was made for an apparent head-to-head contact on a quarterback, which gave the Chiefs a first down. However, the ESPN camera spotted Anderson, who didn't hit Mahomes in the head and in the chest area. That wasn't the only referee call that helped Mahomes. During the third quarter, Mahomes scrambled on a first down play in which two Texas defenders attempted to bring him down while he was running with the ball. On the play, Mahomes did slide extremely late to avoid contact, and the Houston defenders made more contact with each other than they did. They basically ran into each other. But, of course, a 15-yard penalty was assessed on the Texans. And on that same drive, Mahomes tried to draw a third controversial call in the fourth quarter when he took an apparent dive after being pushed in bounds near the sideline. He tried to flop out of bounds. However, officials didn't give Mahomes that call. Still, NFL fans were irate over the two refs' controversial penalties decisions that hurt the Texans and helped extend drives Mahomes and company, leading to 10 points for Kansas City. 10 points. It's all rigged, one wrote. The NFL is 100% rigged for Mahomes, a second added. The NFL is rigged and do anything for the Chiefs, a third commented. Houston was handed 8 penalties for 82 yards, while the Chiefs only received 4 penalties for 29 yards. After the game, the Texans star Anderson said he believed the refs were against his team. We knew it was going to be us versus the refs going into the game, Anderson told reporters. Houston head coach DeMarco Ryans was asked about the calls and made a subtle remark. We know going into this game, man, it was us versus everybody. And when I say everybody, it's everybody, he said. Ryan still acknowledged that self-inflicted mistakes played a part in the Chiefs advancing to the AFC Championship game. Let's see, there's another one here too. I mean, there's just a ton of them. David Portnoy, I don't know what it is, accuses the NFL referees of cheating as Chiefs benefit from controversial call in a Texans playoff game. See, the thing is, it's like, when I don't know, it's just like when it's like game in, game out, and game in, and like all this, everything goes in the Chiefs' favor. How is that? How can that possibly be? Game in and game out, it's just how. I'm very anxious to see what is going to go against the Bills in this upcoming game here. I'm very anxious to see. Yeah. Let's see. What's this one? There we go. Dave Portnoy, whoever that is, has led the online fury over a controversial refereeing decision in favor of the Chiefs on Saturday night. The Chiefs beat the Texans, with Patrick Mahomes aiming to lead the team to an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl. During the battle with the Texans, Mahomes benefited from an early roughing the passer call, which sparked outrage on social media. Midway through the first quarter at Arrowhead, where Travis Kelce's girlfriend, Taylor Swift, is watching from the stands, Texans defender Will Anderson Jr. was penalized for a tackle on a quarterback and a split second after he released the ball. Portnoy was one of many left furious with the decisions in penalizing Anderson, accusing NFL referees of cheating at Arrowhead. The good news is the Texans are dominating and their defense is flying around. The bad news is the refs are cheating and they're losing. The Barstool founder wrote on X. A number of users agreed with Portnoy, including one who posted a clip of Anderson's tackle on Mahomes and said, "The NFL is so rigged for the Chiefs. A bold blank roughing the passer penalty against the Texans for a picture-perfect tackle against precious Patrick Mahomes. Ridiculous. The NFL is scripted and unwatchable." Another argued, when will the NFL that what they are doing for Mahomes and Chiefs and what they did for Tom Brady and Patriots only infuriates football fans. No one wants to watch the refs give every call to a player or a team. That's not football. Apparently, if you sneeze on Mahomes, you get a penalty. Unreal, a third commented sarcastically. You can find this 1,000 times with other quarterbacks this year where it was not called. Only Mahomes, said another. One simply put, that's ridiculous. ESPN analyst Jason Kelsey, whose brother Travis is playing for the Chiefs on Saturday, also described the roughing the passer penalty call as questionable. Whitnoy, who also left seething with another controversial decision in Mahomes' favor later in the game, which saw the Texans penalized for unnecessary roughness on the quarterback. I said it was after the and then it was the hip drop tackle on the Texans' first possession, which wasn't called, but Anderson gets the call for for breathing on Mahomes. Yeah, it's just absolute. He posted a clip of the tackle, which led to the call, and wrote, "This league is disgusting." Commenter Troy Aikman also said about the unnecessary roughness call, "Oh, come on. I mean, he's a runner. I could not disagree with that one more. He barely gets hit." Another user also highlighted a hip drop tackle from Chiefs safety Brian Cook, that went unpunished during the first quarter on Saturday's game while accusing referees of favoring the hosts. I mean, it's just, and that was one of the things that they were really emphasizing this year, without question. It was the hip drop tackle. And that was it. It was wide in the open, right? Wide in the open. Okay. And it was a picture perfect hip drop tackle. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. And the Texans went in there, and the Texans, I think, I forgot what it was. I posted it in my group. Were the first playoff team in history. I have to go back and look, where they outgained their opponent by 100 yards. I don't know what it was. Something like didn't turn the ball over or something like that and lost. First team, I think, I'd have to go back and look. I have a hard time finding it. But it was one of those just staggering stats. As I put so many. Unfortunately, I put so many things in my Facebook group every day. The probably be so far down, I probably won't even be able to find it. But it was some crazy stat with the Texans about totally outplaying, the Chiefs by yardage and all of that stuff and everything, and they wound up losing. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, I can't find it. I mean, it's probably so far down there. I do have other things in my Facebook group making fun. Oh, here we go. So that's it. Texans are the first team in NFL postseason history. Okay. Postseason history. That's we're going back to 1933. Okay. Right. To outgain their opponent by 100 yards, have 0 turnovers, and lose. So now I'm not sure. Well, I said the record for such games is now 49-1. So teams who outgained their opponents by 100 yards and have 0 turnovers in the past were 49-0. The Texans outgained the Chiefs by 100 yards, at least 100 yards, had 0 turnovers, and somehow they lost. Once again, all had to do with the thanks for the referees, right? I can't stand it. But I did see this. There was one of the things is a lot of it was you look at Kayvon, his numbers went down. Obviously he missed, I think it was 5 games because of his wrist. So some people think that, he maybe didn't have a banner season because he had 11.5 sacks last year. So you figure, man, he had 11.5 sacks last year with Burns on the other side, right? I mean, he should get at least double-digit sacks this season. Well, of course, that wasn't the case. But, he quietly had, an impressive season. Obviously, once he did miss the 5 games, but that was from a wrist, right? So, let's see here. Kayvon is development turning heads in the Giants' lost season. Giants edge rusher Kayvon quietly took a strong step forward, even if his teammates struggled around him. The Giants regressed from 6 wins to a meager 3 in 2024, putting the optimism of the 2022's playoff run further out of view. Just about everything went wrong, especially on offense, and player development lagged behind their peers. However, New York was not without minor victories. Receiver Malik Neighbors burst onto the scene as a rookie. The entire 2024 draft class flashed at one point or another, adding at least 4 starters to the line. Edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau development turned heads in the Giants' lost season as well. Kayvon became a controversial player given his first-round draft capital and production that didn't match the film. 2023, he seemed to take the leap, posting 11.5 sacks and 12 tackles for loss. However, his peripherals were less than imposing, though, ranking among the worst edge rushers in the league by Pro Football Focus. His pass win rate was not very good, but somehow he still managed to get 11.5 sacks. Amidst the Giants' struggles in 2024, he quietly developed into a player much closer to the expectations that came with being the number 5 overall pick. Let's not forget, before this season starts, okay, the Giants need to pick up his 5th-year option. Decide. I think that, to me, that's a no-brainer as far as picking up his 5th-year option, because then you'll have him, on his rookie deal this season coming up, and then in 2026 you'll have him. I don't know what it is, $15 million. I don't know, but 2026, 15, 16, 17 million would be a lot cheaper than 25 million. So I think it's a no-brainer. So basically, you'll have him for the next 2 seasons. You'll have a seasoned veteran edge rusher, with Burnsy. You'll have Burns and you'll have Kayvon, right? For at least the next 2 seasons, hopefully, right? And Kayvon will only cost you, I don't know, 25 million for the 2 seasons. That's if you pick up his 5th-year option. So to me, that's a no-brainer. All right. So we got Kayvon. Let's see. Pro Football Focus pass rush. I'm an idiot. I have a hard time saying this. Pass rush win rate. Yeah, I said it. He improved from a dismal 5.6% to a 14.2% in 2024. The latter was good for 21st, among 68 qualified edge rushers, and a performance worthy of accepting his 5th-year option. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with Evan Neal, because if Kayvon's 5th-year option is needs to be picked up this offseason, I don't remember, sometime in June or July, I think it is. That means Evan Neal's needs to be picked up too, if they're going to pick it up. Right? Thibodeau also ranked as the 16th best edge rusher by ESPN's pass rush win rate. All-season acquisition, Brian Burns ranked 4th. So if you look at the two, right, according to ESPN, right, we had the 16th and we had the 4th best. Right? Now, as I said, one thing I would love for us to do, right? We get Sexy back, right? So you have Sexy, you have Kayvon, you have Burnsy. Let's get somebody. Let's get that Graham in there, or get Carter. If Carter's that good, if he falls to us, let's draft him. Get somebody on that defensive line. I would love to see if Graham is that good. Let's get Graham there. That way we'll have 2 edge rushers because Aziz ain't coming back. Unfortunately, we could use a 3rd edge rusher, but if we can get Graham next to Sexy, that way at least the front 4 would be really good. Okay. Unfortunately, after that, our backups are nothing to get totally excited about. But I would love to if we could draft somebody. It said either get Carter or Graham. Right. That's unless one of those quarterbacks fall to us, but that's a different story. I mean, I don't even know if they have a 1st-round grade on them. I'll have to wait and see. But let's see. A hand injury obviously caused Thibodeau to miss a chunk of time from week 6 to week 10, limiting the sample size and surpassing some of his production. Even so, he finished with 5.5 sacks, 17 quarterback hits, and 8 tackles for loss. That's not a particularly impressive line, but the nature of sacks is fairly volatile. He earned too many sacks for his 43 pressures across 17 games in 2023, and too few for his 38 pressures in 2024. So now last season, right, they figure this, right? Last season, he had 43 pressures, and somehow he wound up 11.5 sacks. And his pass rush win rate was like 5.5%. Right? If you look at this season, he missed 5 games, and he had 38 pressures. Last season, he played 17 games. He had 43 pressures. So last season, he played 5 more games. He only had 5 more pressures. Right? Now, obviously, a lot of that might also have to do with Burnsy on the other side. Right? A lot of teams maybe couldn't throw it his way maybe a little bit, or if they're going to send out a back out of the back, maybe, whatever, chip block them or something, right? Or same thing with maybe a tight end. The tight end goes in, maybe hits him, and then goes out in his pass pattern or something, right? So I'm sure Burns helped quite a bit as well, too. But we do got ourselves 2 good edge rushers, right? There are still holes in his game. The run defense can be better, and his athleticism hasn't translated quite as well as fans had hoped for. No, not quite. But after 2 less than mediocre campaigns, Thibodeau's steps were hard to ignore in 2024. New York built its defense around rushing the passer. Just about everything else fell apart. But the Giants can feel encouraged about the unit's trajectory heading into 2025. Now here, okay. Now, once again, last season, I'm not sure if maybe, he wearing down or exactly what it was, but his rookie season, according to Pro Football Focus, that's all I'm going by, right? His rookie season, he graded out a 72.5, okay? 2023, he graded out at 58.4. All right, so last year he did not grade out very well. This past season, he graded out at 69. His tackling was what really dragged him down a little bit. This year, his tackling grade was at 29. He missed 27.6% of his tackles, according to PFF. That's all I'm going by. But his tackling grade was horrible this year, according to PFF. Okay. But I mean, if you look, he played about 593 snaps. So he played like 600 snaps, 38 pressures. Last season, 981. So he played almost 1,000 snaps. He played like 400 more snaps last season. He had 5 more pressures. Okay. So I mean, he had all in all, he had a very, very good year. Very good year. So let's hope, obviously, maybe he can get a little bit better, going on. But, a bright spot for sure. I mean, we know we got Burns, we got Kayvon, we got Sexy. So get somebody else in there, it'd be fantastic. Plus, also, if you get the guys up front, right, take consuming blocks, right, might allow McFadden and a Karake, to run a little more free, right? Maybe make some more tackles. But in a down season, Kayvon certainly had it was a bright spot, that's for sure. And another, I mean, a very small sample size is very, very small sample size here. But if you remember, right, when we drafted him, right, and we put him out there in training camp, I wasn't there to watch. I seen a lot of the people taking, videos with their phones and stuff like that. I mean, good old Trey Hawkins. I mean, the dude looked like maybe the second coming of prime time or something. Man, he was like white on rice. Let me tell you what, he was all over some of our wide receivers out. It was unbelievable. I mean, he did such a good job. And then he maybe a little bit of the preseason, but I mean, then of course, once the regular season rolled around and he started playing with some of the big boys, things didn't quite look as rosy, right, as they did in preseason. But once again, very small sample size. He had a couple games he played in, didn't do too bad. I got to find him here. There's once again, I got 75,000. Oh, here we go. All right. Now, I mean, because if you look, like, let's see, what did he do? Trey Hawkins, the third. I'm sorry. Last season. Now, I don't know. Could be. Once again, he only played 2 games this year. He played week 7 against Philly and week 14 against Nolans, right? Now, 2023, now, once again, could be with the wink, right? Maybe, some guys do a better job man to man. Some guys do a better job maybe in space, with the zone, right? Maybe Hawkins is maybe more suited for maybe a zone kind of defense. He maybe, once he got out there with the big boys last year, meaning 2023, with Wink's defense, more of a man-to-man, he struggled, right? So as his grade last season, 2023, meaning with Wink, was a 52.6. Once again, it was all based by PFF. That's all I'm going by, all right? His run defense 2023 was very good, but his coverage was bad. It was a 47.2. That was in 346 snaps all year. 200. He was in coverage for 211 snaps. His coverage grade was a 47.2. Okay. This past season, once again, he only 82 snaps. That's all. He played in 59 snaps against New Orleans and 23 snaps against Philadelphia. He played in 41 rush defensive snaps, 41 pass defensive snaps. So 41 and 41. But he graded out at 79 overall for the whole season. His run defense was a 70. His tackling was a 59.9. His coverage, though, was a 79.6. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. As I said, last in 2023, his coverage was a 47.2, according to PFF. And actually, I said, if you look here, I mean, surprisingly, right? Giants' top-ranked defenders performers have one surprise, okay? The third highest-ranked defensive player bodes well for his position in the unit's future. So maybe, possibly, could be a Bowen thing. Maybe he gelled in the Bowen, right? Defensive scheme, possibly. But, I mean, if you go to, right, the grades here, right? Of course, Sexy Dexy was number one, graded out at 89.9 by PFF. Just missed the 90 for the third year in a row. What a freaking beast that guy is. Unbelievable. So lucky we got him, man, I'll tell you. Brian Burns, 79.2. Right? And that's despite every week the guy had something wrong with him. Dinged up. Something was wrong with the guy every week, Brian Burns. Once again, nobody's given, everybody's just picking on Shane. And, rightfully so, to some degree. Yeah. Everybody's picking on Shane for what Saquon did. Everybody's picking on Shane for what Xavier McKinney did. But it doesn't get any love for anything he does right. Not that he's doing a ton of things right, but anything he does actually do right, nobody's giving him some love. Where's the love, right? We all need a hug, huh? The Brian Burns, not bad for basically a second-round pick, and you had to pay the guy too. Don't get me wrong, but I'll tell you what, the guy came to play. I mean, every week he had something wrong with him. Every freaking week. I'm sure if he wanted to, on a team that was just hit on the Titanic, that hit the iceberg, and it was just a matter of time before it went down, went under, and everybody went under with it. Right? He could have mailed it in. He could have said, Coach, my groin's, I don't know. I don't think I can go this week. I mean, I'll be ready for the next week, but I think maybe I might want to take a week off. You know what I mean? I mean? He could have done that I don't know how many times. He always had something wrong with him. Came to play every week, right? Hopefully, maybe he can stay a little healthy next season. We'll have to wait and see, but that was a fantastic. Now, so we got two. Unfortunately, we actually had three edge rushers, but that's not going to happen next season unless we draft Abdul Carter. That would be cool, right? Because I don't think Aziz is coming back. He wants to play. He wants to get paid, and he wants to play. So I don't blame him. So I don't think Aziz Ojulari will be back with the Giants. But Burns, that was a really good pickup. But let's say then you got. So then of course that's the first is highest graded, Sexy, right? Sexy Dexy. Brian Burns is number 2. Number 4, right? Drew Phillips, right? But who's number 3? Trey Hawkins. Drew Phillips graded out of 77.5. Now, of course, Drew Phillips had a lot more snaps than Hawkins did. But Trey Hawkins graded out of 79 overall. We need to put an asterisk here for Hawkins. Yes, we do. The young cornerback who ranked 3rd among the Giants defenders. Go figure, right? For the simple reason that his sample size isn't as large as that of the others on defense who finished in the top part of the rankings, which is true. He only played 2 games, right? And, you also got to think about it, too, is that, there was times, right, where Banks was injured. Now, Flott was injured, right? Phillips was injured. Well, we had guys were just injured, right? It would have been so easy to put Hawkins in there, right? He was only in there for 2 games. So, obviously that could be telling you something too. But the 2 games he played, right? He did pretty well. That said, kudos to Hawkins, who was pretty much a non-factor last year and who was often inactive in his second season, cashing in on an opportunity to start when injuries cut into the cornerback depth. Hawkins showed very encouraging improvement from a year ago when the game proved to be too fast for him. He recorded his first career interception, was aggressive to the ball in both coverage and edge run force with 6 tackles, and finally looking like a promising NFL cornerback. You got to have depth. Not saying the guy's ever going to be a star corner for you or anything like this, whatever, but you got to have depth, right? And, right? And, the guy keeps getting maybe a little bit better, right? Should be some good depth for us going forward. Unfortunately, a season-ending back injury, which did her. He missed. Oh, I forgot what. Oh, here. Let's see. I think he missed the last 4 games. Where is Hawkins at here? Trey Hawkins. The last 4 games he was on IR. It's the Ravens, Atlanta, Indianapolis, and Philadelphia. He got put on IR, unfortunately. So, but so that was one of the reasons why he probably didn't get as many. He probably maybe could have got some more snaps, but he got put on IR, unfortunately. His season-ending back injury cut short any chance of him building on that progress. But considering he plays a position where the Giants need a lot more depth moving forward, Hawkins' growth was one of the more positive and encouraging developments of a lost season. Actually, that's true. Yeah, especially he's a very high or low pick, right? You got to have depth, and he's cheap, right? So maybe he can get better. Bowen's back, maybe, Maybe it was the Bowen system that helped them. Maybe also our new secondary coach coming in might be able to help him out a little bit more than maybe Henderson did. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But obviously you always in a lost season, you always trying to look for something, anything to look forward to for next season, right? And if Hawkins can elevate his game even a little bit more, maybe he can hopefully be on the team going forward. Something to look forward to. But I was a little shocked when I saw that because they listed in that article, they listed the top bunch of guys grade wise on defense. I'm like, Trey Hawkins, yeah. But unfortunately, an injury got him. Now, this is something here. The Giants have about $43 million, okay, salary cap going forward. Now that's an estimate because the actual salary cap for next season has not been announced yet. So it's just speculative right now. If you remember in Hard Knocks, very beginning of Hard Knocks, I guess it might have been maybe the first episode or so, was Shane looking at his phone or was it his computer? And maybe it was an email. It was an email, I think. An email popped up, and then somebody called them, I think it was, or something like that. And the salary cap, he was budgeting for 235, and it went up to 245 or something like that. So it gave him like an extra $10 million to spend or something like that. So, right. But I mean, as of right now, it's very, very speculative. We're just kind of guessing what the salary cap might wind up being. But the Giants got, they have obviously got some decisions they got to make here. Now, some of these guys here, is this in here? Okay, here we go. All right. Now, this is some guy did this here. He did a little bit of an article. Said that the Giants currently have around $43 million in salary cap space heading into 2025 offseason before they have any roster moves, cuts, and trade, according to Over the Cap. I always do Spot Track. I can just read the numbers better. I do Spot Track over the cap. Ain't nothing wrong with Over the Cap. I always do Spot Track. But of the players signed on to 2025, who could the Giants cut and move that could help to free up some salary cap space? Now, this is a thought, right? Devin Singletary. Now, the one thing is here, right? Good old Motor Singletary, right? If the Giants were, I don't know if I would let him go. I don't know. I would like to draft maybe a running back. Maybe get one maybe late or pick somebody up or something, or maybe bring Turbo Miller up or whatever. I don't know. I'm not too, I don't know. I mean, Motor Singletary's he's not very expensive, right? He'd save a little bit of money, but he's not super expensive. I'm just, I don't know what they're going to do with Eric Gray, right? Guy seems to fumble the ball a lot, especially when he's returning kickoffs. So, but Singletary, right? His dead cap. Once again, here it looks like this guy wrote this article. Singletary was supposed to be the Giants' #1 running back before Tyrone Tracy. Excuse me. Came onto the scene. Now Singletary is a rather expensive running back #2, which is true, right? On a team that could give his reps to a younger back like Turbo Miller. Moving him for a day 3 pick would be the best use of his roster spot. If somebody can give you a 7th rounder for him, okay. So Singletary, if according to his article, the guy said if they to trade him, right, his dead cap would be $2.5 million, but his cap savings would be $3.75 million. Then they also talk about somehow Evan Neal. I don't know so much about that, but Neal is on the final year of his rookie deal, and where the Giants play him is unknown, especially if Neal doesn't move inside the guard. The Giants already have Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor for both tackle spots, but they got Illuminor for just one more season. Another team might be better used to try to use Neal for one of their tackle spots, and if the Giants get a day 3 pick for him in return, man, that would be a huge. I mean, you drafted dude #7 overall, and you trade him for a 6th round pick. Whew, oh my God. But I guess if they were to trade him, they said his dead cap money would be $3.75 million. But apparently, according to this guy, Doug Rush, if they had traded Evan Neal, they would save $4 million. Right? Then they talk about potential cuts. Now, this one I don't agree with. Cutting Jermaine Illuminor. I don't know why, but dead cap would be $2.7 million. But if they were to cut him, cap saving would be $6.4 million. I don't know why you would want to cut your best right tackle. Doesn't make much sense to me, but who knows? Who knows what the heck's going on, right? Right? The Giants might draft a tackle in the draft. Who knows? I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Anything's possible. Let's see here. Cutting one of the Giants' better veteran linemen doesn't seem appealing, especially without depth. His release would save money, but it would diminish a position that the Giants can't afford to do so. An extension would be more likely for Illuminor, which is possible, right? The rest of the players listed below would be potential salary cap casualties to save money for the cap. Nacho, I could see that. His dead cap would be $1.4 million, but you would save $3.6 million. Some of these guys I can't even talk about. He was supposed to come in and do you were never going to get much from him out of the pass rush. That just wasn't happening. But he was supposed to do well against the run. Now he might have had some nice games here or there or whatever like that. But I just was never overly impressed with what Nacho has been doing for the Giants, especially in the run game. Not at all. And we're paying him $5 million a year, and it's just we had Ashawn Robinson, which we should have kept. Found some way to keep that guy because he did good. When he came to the Giants, he I can't remember what it was. Was his knee? I think it was his knee early on, last 2023 meeting, last season. But when he got on the field, once again, you were not going to get a lot out of the passing rush from him. But in the rushing game, he didn't do too bad. And we weren't talking about paying the guy $30 million a year. and he did very well in the running game, run defense. Yeah, and we just didn't sign. We wound up keeping Nacho, but we let Ashawn Robinson go. So, is what it is. But I mean, if we somehow we're, unfortunately for us, we don't have a lot of depth on the team. We got guys, and we got Chapman, but I mean, some of the other guys did not grade out very well at all this past season. So we're a little thin on the defensive front. So if you were going to let Nacho go, you'd certainly save yourself some money, but you'd be really depleting any depth you'd have at that position. Let's see, Cordell Flott. Now this one I don't know about this. I mean, they drafted Flott. He didn't do too bad last year. Once again, one of the problems, he gets injured, right? But they said if it were salary cap casually, if Cordell Flott was, the dead cap money would be about $250,000, which is nothing. But you would save $3.3 million. But the thing is that you're going to be saving $3.3 million for a cornerback who was playing for you. That's not a lot of money. Not a lot of money. And then they're talking about, I don't know, some of this stuff I don't agree with this guy. The guy's talking about cap casually Micah McFadden. I don't. Dead cap money would be only $88,000. But if you cut him, your cap savings would be $3.3 million, which is cool. But once again, I don't know why you're cutting one of your starting defensive players. I mean, is he Harry Carson? Is he Ray Lewis? Is he Lawrence Taylor? Is he is he Dick Butkus? Mike McFadden? No, of course not. But he's only $3.3 million. He makes a lot of tackles. Right? He's not the greatest. But once again, you're not paying him $30 million. You're not paying him 10. You're not paying him 20. So I don't really agree with that one. He also has Joshua Zudu. Okay, all right. But this one's very minimal. His dead cap, if you were to cut him, would be $292,000. His cap saving would be $1.4 million, baby. Yeah. So that's not a lot. That's not a lot of saving, but it's something, but it's not a lot. But once again, he was he was a third round pick, and you're going to be just cutting him. I mean, it's just a shame. We draft some of these guys, and we just can't develop them. Just can't. And then the kicker right in the freaking crotch is that you let these guys go, and they go to another team, and it's like, oh wow, Joshua Zuda's, wow, he's an All-Pro this year. Wow, geez, he didn't play like that when he was with the Giants. What's going on here? Wow, he goes to the Saints, and he's an All-Pro. What's going on? One of the other things, right? I mean, for some reason we had Kevin Zeitler. I mean, where are we at? Here we go. I'm going to look up Kevin. I mean, we let Kevin Zeitler go as a cap hit, not a cap hit, cap savings. Right, just let him go. And every year he's just been chewing. We have problems on the offensive line. You got a good guy coming in, Zeitler, right? And he's old, but he keeps good year after good year after, and we let him go. It's like you got somebody good, and you still, what the we doing? So you let him go. It's like, yeah, we need a good guard. Well, you just had one. What are you doing? Some of that was, I think, from Gettleman with his, the way he did the salary cap really kind of screwed us over. But Kevin, ZIT, here we go. Good old Zeitler. Okay, let's see here. Offense. Now here with Zeitler. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He was with the Giants, right? After he left the Giants. Now, how old is he? I mean, he's up there. He'll be 35 in March, so he's up there. after he left the Giants after 2020, 2021, 22, and 23, he was with Baltimore. He graded out a 75, a 74.7, a 71.6. Past season with Detroit. Now, they got a good offensive line. Past season with Detroit, at 34 years old, he graded at 86.8. I mean, holy cow. He had 2 penalties all season long. It's just unbelievable. 6'4", 340 pounds. And we had him. We easy, and it does not cost a lot of money. And we easily could add him for the last 4 seasons. Right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let me see here. I got where we at? Oh. Okay. And then the final one they talk about, and this one kind of makes a little bit of sense here. A little bit. It's not a lot of savings. A little bit of sense makes it. Jalen Hyatt. Dead cap money, if we just a cap casualty, would be $545,000. Cap savings would be $988,000. So that's not a ton of money. That's not a lot of money at all. But I mean, that would be, once again, if you're gonna cut him or release him, that would be. It's like you drafted this, you traded up to get this guy in the 3rd round, and then you just cut him a couple years later because he can't run routes. It's like, wow. But there are certainly things the Giants could do. Restructuring some guys' money. I even seen, I don't know why you would do this, but I saw a couple of articles people were writing about Bobby Okereke possibly being a salary cap casualty too. I think that would be a mistake, but there are always things you can do. We do have some dead money this season, but a lot of that's from Daniel Jones. Right? We have $27 million in dead money. But in 2026, I don't think we have any dead money at all. I think it'll be off the books. So I know we have a lot of money, not this season somewhat. We got some, but not a lot. But in 2026, we have well over $100 million to spend. So we'll have a lot of money to spend in 2026. Now, the thing is that who's it going to be? Is it going to be who is Schoen going to be the GM, or is it going to be somebody else being the GM in 2026? That we'll have to wait and see. And then finally, I saw this here. So there are things that the Giants can do, always to free up a little bit of money here or there or whatever. But we do have some guys that we could let go to save a little bit more money if need be. But one of the things, if you bring in a free agent, especially if you got a boomer of a free agent, somebody costs you some money, obviously is the first year, you give him a sign-in bonus. So, if the guy paid a guy for $15 million a year, right, his first year, his cap hit's only like maybe 8 or 9, and then the next year it'll be 15, and the next year it'll be like 19. It goes up a little bit. So the first year, usually you get them kind of on the cheap, right? And then this here. Now, this is cool, right? The Giants are projected to receive a 4th-round compensatory pick. This is because, obviously what it is basically it's some kind of complicated math problem. Basically, it's like, take the guys that you bring in free agency and then you compare them to the guys that you lost in free agency. Now, you can't talk about Burns because we traded for him, right? So you can't add Burnsy in there. But some of the guys, that obviously that we did lose in free agency, right? Obviously, one of them is McKinney. Of course, we know Saquon. But if you compare, let's see here. Okay, here we go. All right. Giants are projected to receive a 4th-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft as a compensation for losing safety Xavier McKinney in free agency. That's cool. Per over the cap, the Giants lost 4 qualifying free agents. We lost Saquon Barkley, Tyrod Taylor, don't forget about him, Ashawn Robinson, wish we could have kept him. Good. And Ben Bredesen. Last year, that was canceled out by the subsequent signings of Devin Singletary, John Runyon Jr., Jermaine Illuminor, and Drew Lock. However, this draft, the Titans, Browns, and Giants finished tied for the worst win-loss records in the league. The order of their picks in each round alternates. By the time the rotation makes it to the 8th round, Cleveland would be first in order. Thus, it is projected to get the Mr. Irrelevant pick. If additional supplemental comp picks are needed, the next one would be awarded to the Giants and then to the Titans. So, the pick for McKinney is currently projected as the first compensatory pick in the 4th round. Cool. Very nice. Most of the questions this draft center around standard guesswork as to where the cutoffs on each round are. One question that remains is if the NFL Management Council will continue to oddly view restructured contracts as new contracts. If it no longer does that, it could be good news for the Giants and Dolphins. Xavier McKinney had an outstanding season in Green Bay with postseason honors, boosting his contract very close to the 3rd round. Christian Wilkins, on the other hand, had a disappointing season in Las Vegas that was marred by injury, dropping his contract down to the 4th round. But if there's a change, there's a chance either or both could deliver a 3rd round comp pick instead. Ooh. The McKinney loss had no matching signing to offset it. The list of projected compensatory selections does not include picks awarded as per 2020 resolution JC2A, a policy that awards a club picks for losing minority candidates to other clubs in executive or head coaching positions. Giants assistant general manager Brandon Brown has had 2 interviews with the Raiders for the general manager vacancy. Should he be hired away, the Giants would receive a compensatory 3rd round selection in each of the next 2 drafts. Nice. Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, who is drawing head coaching interest, would also factor in under resolution JC2A. Nice. So, should Brandon Brown be hired away, the Giants would receive a compensatory 3rd round selection in each of the next 2 drafts. Awesome. 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 Is this one here too? Okay, now I got this here. Now, I mean, it's a little. See, now the Giants, okay, obviously we have pick number 3. See, basically what they were talking about there, okay, is the Giants, since they all wind up with basically 3 losses, right? The Titans, the Browns, and the Giants. 3 losses, 3 wins, right? It's going to alternate. So the Giants get pick number 3 in the 1st round. You get pick number 2 in the 2nd round. Pick number 1 in the 3rd round. So in the 3rd round, we get the first pick in the 3rd round. Pretty good. Pretty special, huh? I saw this. So, as I said, we have possibly 2 4th round picks, right? So here they got, right here, we have, in round 4, we have pick 103. So we have pick number 334, which is the 2nd pick in the 2nd round. Then we have pick number 65, which is the 1st pick in the 3rd round. So we got 3 of the top 65 players in the country will be all ours. Then in round 4, according to this here, it says we have pick 103. And then it says, I guess with our compensatory pick, we have maybe pick 134. So 1, 2, we have 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. So I was reading for a while that there was a chance that we were going to get a 4th round compensatory pick because of Ben Bredesen. Apparently that's not the case. Reading these articles, we're going to get a 4th round compensatory pick for Xavier McKinney. So I'm not sure why McKinney's not would be a 3rd round pick, right? But you'll take one if you can get it. So the Giants. Now I said you look last year, right? Okay, and if you even went for Tracy was in the 5th round pick. Look what Shane did with the first 5 picks. Knocked that out of the park. Guys wound up all being starters, right? Tracy wound up being a starter. Theo Johnson wound up being a starter. Phillips, starter. Newman, starter. Malik Neighbors. Yeah, the guy was pretty good, right? Right? For his 5 picks. And he knocked it out of the park with those 5. Right? All wound up one point or another being starters. Right? And expected the same thing. Obviously, Malik Neighbors is going to be a starter. Tracy, look for him probably quite possibly to be the starting running back next season. Right? Phillips in the slot. Pencil him in. He'll be the starter. Right? Newman, starting safety. And then, right out of the gate, now let's not forget, we were supposed to have Waller. Okay? So let's not forget that. Okay? If Waller was here, Theo would not have been a starting tight end, right? But since Waller retired, Manhurts and Bellinger took a back seat. Theo was, in there right away as the starter, right? So we knocked that out of the park with first 5 picks, and that included the 5th round with Tracy. It was a 5th round pick, right? So you figure here we got 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. So we can, once again, if Shane can knock it out of the park again, like he did this time, and get 5 really solid good picks right off the bat, right, and then bring in a few good free agents, that would certainly help this team. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 46 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.